Shalawama, everybody. I'm DrYasapa from Zion Law School. Give me one moment to get started, all right? Give me 1 second. So here's the book that we are working in. This is the Gospel and the Zodiac. Okay, the Gospel and the Zodiac, the secret truth. The secret truth about Jesus. So y'all take a good look at that. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video. All right, the link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video. All right, so go click on this right now, download it. As always, print it. All right, print it. And put it in your library because you will need the physical copy. Give me 1 second. Let me check the connection, all right? Give me one moment, y'all. Let me make sure that the connection is good. And that I'm not talking to myself. Give me one moment. And so here's the crazy thing, y'all. When I search my self on YouTube, I can hardly be found. But anyway, be that as it may, hold on. All right, so let me make sure we got volume. And so all right. Crazy thing, when I search. All right, yeah. Search my self on. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to begin same way as always. All right, here's our book that we're using. We're starting out on page 178, page 178. This is Capricorn. All right, y'all make sure y'all like and share this video. Help me get the subscribers up so we get proper distribution so that we can make an impact, okay? I can't make an impact alone. I need your help to make an impact by getting this information out. Those of you who do not know me, I'm DrYasapa from Zion Law School. I teach Ancient Ibaryath. Some people call it Paleo Hebrew. It is the original Hebrew, okay? Let me rephrase that. It is the original language that the book of the law was written in, okay? Hebrew, biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew, these are not the original languages that our ancestors would have written in and spoken, okay? They didn't know anything about biblical Hebrew or modern Hebrew, all right? So that's my expertise, that's what I do. And through Ibaryath, I present astrology in scripture. I present astrotheology in scripture. More importantly, I present the law in scripture, which is natural law, okay? So our records, our contract with the Most High is a obligation, responsibility to follow natural law. These are the laws that govern the universe, okay? Those would include those laws governing cosmology or astrology, as it was called in ancient times, not the stuff you read in the newspapers today, not the hocus pocus stuff. I'm talking about the science, all right? The hard science, okay? So let's get started, okay? The Zodiac and the Gospels. We're going to start on page 178. Page 178, this is Capricorn. All right, so let me show you what that looks like. Don't cheat yourself. Do not cheat yourself. Be sure you go out and you get this book. All right, download it, get it printed. The free PDF, again, is in the description area of this video. Download it, print it, put it in your library. Do not cheat yourself by not printing the PDF, okay? Do not cheat yourself. There it is. All right, page 178. I'm going to keep this video short. All right. Capricorn. Mark. That's the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, verse 27 through Mark chapter 12, verse 44. Call no man father. Call no man father. Take a look at this picture. Okay. Take a look at the image here of Capricorn. Take a look at that. You'll notice that Capricorn has the head of a goat. You see that? A head of a goat. And it has the tail. It has the bottom half of its body is a fish tail. Y'all got that? Top half of the body of Capricorn is a goat. You see it's two horns. The bottom half of the Capricorn is a fish tail. What should this remind you of? This should bring to mind Raphaim, right? Should bring to mind the Raphaim, half man, half fish. All right, go back and look up the meaning of Raphaim and where they live, okay? Where they live, who they are. This should also remind you of what? Maritime, the maritime jurisdiction, the law of the seas, the New Testament. All right, the New Testament. Paul voluntarily appealed to Caesar. All right, even though those are all made up stories or fairy tales. Okay. Take a good look at this. Okay, you should be thinking again, Raphaim, Dogon. Remember who Mary is. She's the mistress of the sea. Why is it that all of these mythological entities reference back to the sea, where the Raphaim reside? Okay, so you should take note that, well, we'll get into it as we go into the text. I won't mention it yet. I'll let the text bring it out. All right, so here we go. Capricorn, Mark 11, verse 27 through chapter 12, verse 44. Call no man father. Let's look at this quote. So, Ananda, you must be your own lamps. Be your own refuge. Hold firm to the truth as a lamp and a refuge. And do not look for refuge to anything besides yourselves. This is a quotation from the Buddha. What is significant about that? It's consistent with natural law, right? You're your own savior. You are responsible for you. Don't look for somebody else outside of yourself to solve your problems, to save you. That is your obligation, your responsibility, and you have been given all of the tools to be able to do it. Let me put the camera, let me adjust this camera a little bit better. Hold on, y'all. Oh well, look like the top of my head is cut off. But let me see. Well, y'all gonna have to deal with it. Hold on. I don't want to focus on it. I want to let that go and keep going. All right. I want to let it go and keep going. Okay, so here we go. 1 second. Uh-oh. There's a delay, y'all, in my camera. Messing up the video. I might start this over. I might start it over. Hold on, there's a delay. Let me see. Let me see how we look with the camera. Give me a second. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. Okay, all right, there we go. That's good enough. Let's do it. So Ananda, you must be your own lamps. That means be your own light. That means learn to think, learn to teach yourself, learn to discover yourself, learn to uncover things yourself. Lamps, that's a reference to light, right? That is a reference to light. By the way, light is a protection, isn't it? Because in the light you can see. So with the proper education, with the ability to ask meaningful questions and have the discipline and the patience to investigate, research, etc., use your intuitive mind, you come up with answers. This is a protection, the same way as sunlight or light in a dark alley can protect you, right? Because you can see, okay? So Ananda, you must be your own lamps. It means you must be your own source of education and protection. Be your own refuge. Hold firm to the truth as a lamp. Okay, so we do know that truth is associated with what? Truth is associated with light. That's why JC the Christ figure said, I am the truth and the light, because JC the Christ figure is the S-U-N sun, the sun in the sky, and the S-O-N sun, if I remember correctly, S-O-N sun is the S-U-N sun in German. So somebody check this, let me know in the comments section if my memory serves me correctly. S-O-N sun in German is the sun in the sky. Somebody check that, all right? Let me know. Hold firm to the truth as a lamp and a refuge. So truth, light is a protection for you, a refuge. And do not look for refuge to anything besides yourselves. Don't look for protection for anything besides yourself. That means no external deity, no politician, nobody but you. All right. This is a quote from the Buddha. All right, let's continue. Capricorn and Saturn. Capricorn and Saturn. Capricorn is the sign of the winter solstice. So the winter solstice, according to the Devil's Pulpit, begins on either December 22nd or December 23rd. All right, now I'm going to read through the paragraph and comment as I go, okay? Capricorn is the sign of the winter solstice, the point of the sun's maximum southerly declination. In other words, the sun is at its lowest point in its annual course. Okay, in its annual course, annual meaning 365 days in the calendar that we're using. Okay, so it starts in one place, it starts here, 365 days later, it's back where it started. All right, so if this is north and this is south, let's say this is the point here, my fingernail. This point right here, look at my fingernail. This is a summer solstice somewhere around June 23rd. Okay, the sun is at its zenith, the highest point in its northern path or orbit. Okay, all right, reverse that. Now my fingernail is at the lowest point. Okay, the lowest point in the southern path or orbit. All right, so this is the winter solstice on December 22nd, 23rd. This The fingernail is the summer solstice. Opposite ends of the same line. Y'all got it? Opposite ends of the same line. That's why at the sun on June 23rd, at its zenith, this is the Christ. The sun, S-U-N, the S-O-N, is the Christ. At the opposite end of that line, the sun at its lowest point in the celestial orbit is the devil. Satan, the devil, evil with a D on it, right? Satan is the opposer of the Christ. Satan is at the opposite end of the same line as the Christ. I go through this all the time. I hope you guys are getting it. So in other words, Christ is everything good, right? Summertime, the sun is at its highest point in the sky. The number of daylight hours are at its maximum, right? Okay, so you can see, in fact, Christ was in the temple at 12 o'clock or at 12 years old when the sun is at its highest point during the 24-hour day, teaching the people, right? So what's the astrological or astrotheological meaning of that? Christ is in the temple at 12 o'clock noon, teaching the entire world. How is that? Because the sun is at its zenith, its peak, its highest point in the sky at 12 noon. So that means that there's an abundance of light on the earth at 12 noon. Y'all got that? An abundance of light on the earth. Remember, the light is the truth. Okay, there's an abundance of truth on the earth at 12 o'clock. Christ was teaching in the temple when he was 12 years old. Because that's the astrotheological meaning of that. But now let's go back to the sun's orbit. All right. December 22nd, 23rd, the sun reaches its lowest point in the celestial sky. This is called the declination, okay? This is the maximum length of nighttime hours or the absolute shortest or minimum number of daylight hours, okay? So in the dark, bad things happen, right? People get robbed, the animals come out, etc. Okay? So in other words, a lot of evil things happen in the dark. Okay? So you put the D on evil, you get devil. Okay? This is Satan the devil, the opposer. Okay? And the abyss, the black bottomless abyss, is because space has no bottom, according to current models, right? Space is bottomless. So here we see the bottomless pit, And of course, the abyss refers to the abyss in the waters. So I need to correct myself. So the abyss is the abyss in the waters. In space, it's the bottomless pit. Okay? September 29th is the opening of the gates of hell. Now let's go back to Capricorn and Saturn, which is the first paragraph. Capricorn is the sign of the winter solstice, the point of the sun's, the S-U-N sun's maximum southerly declination. I just went through that. When nights are at their longest in the northern hemisphere. The sun, symbolic of individual consciousness. Y'all got that? The sun, S-U-N sun, is symbolic of each person's consciousness. That's awareness. Okay, y'all got it? The sun is the truth. The sun is the light. You need to have consciousness or awareness to be able to experience it. So let's continue. The sun, symbolic of individuals' consciousness, is now at its weakest, and the forces of darkness, symbolizing the collective, predominate. So we just went through that, right? We just went through that with the Christ, the sun at the zenith, June 23rd, Okay, this is the maximum or highest level of consciousness, right? Truth, the light. Okay. December 22nd, 23rd. Okay, this is the lowest. This is the time where consciousness of each individual is at the lowest. So what kinds of consciousness are we talking about? We're talking higher self and lower self, okay? So lower self type of consciousness would be December 22nd, 23rd. Higher self consciousness would be, of course, the Christ, June 23rd. In other words, the summer solstice is higher self-consciousness. Winter solstice is lower self-consciousness. Higher self-behavior, lower self-behavior. The sun, symbolic of individual consciousness, is now at its weakest, and the forces of darkness, symbolizing the collective, predominate, right? During the dark, bad stuff happens, okay? By man and animal. This is when institutions freeze into systems. This is a quote taken from Rudyard, page 29. This is when institutions freeze into systems, when the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative, and the major organizations of collective endeavor begin their task of regulation and control. Y'all know when the BITCH hit, right? Y'all know when that hit, the crown, the virus that wears a crown. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Didn't they do that sometime around Capricorn, if I remember correctly? I remember where I was at. But I don't remember the exact date. I was in Vietnam. It was sometime around Tet. I think it was at the end of Tet. I don't remember, but y'all see the point I'm trying to make. So the author says, let's go back to it. All right. So the author says that Capricorn, okay, so Capricorn, I looked it up on the internet, begins sometime around, I think on December 22nd, maybe December 21st, I'm not sure. And it ends, I think, on January 19th. Okay, so this is the dates that we're looking at. All right, so the author says this is when institutions freeze into systems. I'm not sure if that's a bad thing for an institution to freeze into a system. This is not clear to me what he wants, what the author is trying to say. Systems in themselves are not evil, okay? Systems are not evil. So for example, there are many types of systems that exist in nature. Now, can institutions be evil? You bet. You bet institutions can be evil. So, for example, banking, education, all of these corporate institutions don't have our best interests in mind, and we know that through their histories, right? This is when institutions freeze into systems, when the demands of society. Now, who's going to determine what the demand of society is? You guys see how ambiguous and subjective that is? Now, I can say society has a demand, right? I don't have billions and billions of Federal Reserve notes or any other type of fiat, okay? I don't have control of a political party or a military. Y'all follow what I'm saying? This is when institutions freeze into systems, when the demands of society, according to who? The ruling elite, right? So this, I'm not buying this right now. When the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative. So in other words, these demands of the society, according to whoever has power, let's just call them the elite, Okay, in today's world, we would say the, what is it called? The industrial military complex, right? And the people whose name is spelled T-S-I-N-O-I-Z. Y'all think about that. All right. So these organizations begin to create laws, policies, rather, statutes and codes to run over its citizens. That's what he's saying, okay? So if they're running over their own citizens, imagine what they're going to do to those people who are from the soil, okay? The original people. Imagine what they're going to do to you. All right. So let's keep that in mind. So we Moors, we are not corporate items. Okay. We are Genesis chapter 2 rightful heirs. Let's continue with this. When the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative. In other words, you can take all the initiative you want, be as brilliant as you want, be as action and outcome oriented as you want, as achievement oriented as you want. The elites will use all of their systems, church, state, traders, etc., to hold you down to achieve their goals, whatever those goals might be. That's what this is saying. And the major organizations of collective endeavor, in other words, the major organizations, they all have a common plan, right? They're all working together. And the major organizations of that society and collective endeavor, that's a plan, a common goal, begin their task of regulation and control. Do you all see that? All right. So what is this? What can we like? This is sounding like fascism, isn't it? This sounds like fascism, right? Where corporate entities and government begin to mix. All right, they begin to mix and exert power and pressure and control. Sounds like fascism to me. We see that right now. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, the company, the state. That sounds like, don't that sound like 14th Amendment citizen, y'all? Don't that sound like civilly dead? Civil liter mortuus? Don't that sound like what Paul has pulled the entire Christian world into? Civil death and rulership by the Dogon. Y'all follow that? Interesting enough, Capricorn, as presented by the people who have control of this information, is presented as a form of a Dogon. Half fish, half something else. Y'all got that? Now, is Capricorn a Dogon? Absolutely not. It's their presentation, the way they illustrate it, to give honor and glory to the Raphaim. Y'all see it? All right, let's continue. Let me make sure you see that. Okay, so you can use some other image for Capricorn. This image for Capricorn clearly is giving honor, homage, reference, and worship to the Raphaim, the Dogon. Okay, Oannes. All right, y'all got that? And this is in your Christian New Testament, full of it. This is when institutions freeze into systems, when the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative. Take away their inheritance. Okay, make them corporate citizens. or make them corporations, the ens legis. And the majority of organizations of collective endeavor begin their task of regulation and control. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, the company, the state, the team, any area of life in which the individual is a participating member, or worse, a computer generated number. Now, isn't it interesting that JC, the Christ figure, is born on December 25th? He's a Capricorn. Christianity, corporate, an alliance of corporate states. Y'all got that? More correctly, the Catholic Church, through trust that it created, has ownership of all corporate nation states. Do y'all see it? Is it clear? All right. Christ born on December 25th, Capricorn. Christ represents the corporate state, according to the author. Let me read it again. This is when institutions freeze into systems, when the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative, and the major organizations of collective endeavor begin their task of regulation and control. Capricorn, Christ is born December 25th. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, the Catholic Church, the Christian Church. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, the company, the state, the corporate state. Let me repeat that. The corporate state, the Catholic Church, through its trusts, own, created, and own all nation states on earth today. And here is your Christ. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, organized as a corporation, 14th Amendment, civil leader mortuus, dead in the eyes of the law, maritime law, the law of the seas, Raphaim, Dogon, Oannes, etc., etc. Christ took the demons out of the man in the cave. Remember, there was Legion. Who are you? The man said, I am Legion. Okay. Christ sent those spirits, those demons, into the swine, and the swine, what did the swine do? They ran over the hill so they get back in the water. Y'all got that? Okay, so Capricorn symbolizes organizational man, the company, the state, the team, any area of life in which the individual is a participating member, or worse, a computer generated number. Y'all got that? I hope it's clear. Now, note that these are corporate affairs. Corporate affairs. A man or a woman can participate in society and work with others and not be organized as a corporation. That's just nature. But the corporation is a mental construct. Okay? It's a mental construct. So let's make it clear. There's a difference between natural, physical phenomena, interacting, communicating, transacting, doing commerce with other people, and doing that activity through a corporation. Y'all got it? All right. Let's continue. A computer-generated number. Might that be, this is very curious, right? Can you connect that to, let's say, a social security number? Can you connect that to a social security number or EIN? Y'all got that? Or any other type of number meant to track, identify, classify, categorize, escheat, hypothecate, atone. Y'all got it? All right. Let's continue on with this paragraph. We're on page 179. Some hint of this polarity between the individual and the community is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn, the goat fish. Let me read that again. Some people hint of this polarity between the individual and the community. What is it saying? There's the man and the woman. Then there's the government, the corporate government and its institutions, or in other words, the Catholic Church and its nation states. All right, there's a polarity. Natural man here, natural woman here, Catholic Church and nation states at the opposite end of that line. Y'all got it? All right. Some hint of this polarity between the individual or the natural woman and man and the community or the Catholic Church and its nation states and all of its institutions, such as the NIH, FDA, all right, etc. Some hint of this polarity between natural man and woman, Genesis chapter 2, and the corporate nation state and the Catholic Church is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn, the goat fish. Let me show the goat fish again. Y'all take a good look at that. You ask your pastors and rabbis and reverends and imams and all of the other religious officials that you're dealing with to explain this to you. All right, you deserve an answer. Take a look at the top of the body of Capricorn. It's a goat. Note his horns. Take a look at the bottom half of the body. It is a fish. All right, let's continue. Okay, so the goatfish, which is half one creature, half another, just as the human person lives partly as an individual, partly as a member of a group. Now, do y'all believe that? Do you believe that? That's the explanation of the goat having a body of a fish? Do you believe that? The goat has the body of a fish to symbolize man lives as an individual and also in a community. I don't buy it, but you make your own decision. This sounds too much like Raphaim, and its context to me says that this is just a bunch of garbage. I don't know if the author knows this or not. I don't know anything about this author, what his motives are, if he would hide something, or if he honestly doesn't know. Hopefully he honestly doesn't know, okay? But I see Raphaim all over this, and I see Raphaim all over the New Testament, okay? Maritime law, all over the New Testament. The world of the dead, all over the New Testament. When Paul said, I appeal to Caesar, he set the example for every Christian to submit themselves to the jurisdiction of nation states. thus through the Catholic Church, thus to the Raphaim, the Dogon. All right. So in other words, Paul convinced you through his behavior to give up your birthright, to go against the Most High. Okay? To go against the Most High by not following natural law, but to turn to Rome, to turn to man's law, to get remedy or justice. This is what Paul did to you. All right? And many of y'all are still using these Roman venues to take other Moors. When I say Moors, I'm talking about all 16 or 18 families. Okay? All 16 or 18 families mentioned in Genesis, I believe it's chapter 10. Talk about all of us, all Genesis chapter 2, men and women. You all are violating the law, the natural law. You should not go to these venues, these maritime venues, pull another Moor or Yasharala man or woman into these venues. Okay? All right, these are corporate. But anyway, y'all gonna do what y'all want to do anyway. Some hint of this polarity between the individual and the community is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn, the goat fish, which is half one creature, half another, just as the human person lives partly as an individual, partly as a member of a group. Next sentence reads, the signs, that's Capricorn, the signs glyph, I'm going to show y'all that, supposedly resembles the horns of a goat with a curling fishtail. So let me show y'all this, okay? Just look at the tip of my finger. So here's the sign of Capricorn. And I get some time, I'm going to show it to y'all, all right? So there's the sign of Capricorn. I can't stress enough for y'all to study this business about Paul, okay? Study about Paul. Can y'all see that? Google search Capricorn. Paul got y'all in maritime law. All you good Christians are worshiping Dogon. All of you are civilly dead in the eyes of the law. Okay, all of you. All right. Next paragraph. Dang Rudyard, page 29, tells us that this is the phase of life. So in other words, Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th, tells us that this is the phase of life in which the state assumes control over the individual. Y'all got that? JC, let me repeat it again. JC, the Christ figure, born under Capricorn. The state, through the Catholic Church, has seized control over all indigenous, Genesis chapter 2, men and women. Okay, converted our status into corporations, therefore property and stock, to be used as slaves, to own nothing, to hypothecate as cheap your estate and all of your rights. Okay, they through the process of bills of attainder. All right. I showed this in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 20, etc. I showed it in the Ibaryath that these nation states would use legal processes to harass us. What's that legal process? Bills of attainder. Why? Why would they do it? Why are they able to do it? You'll hear the Hebrew Israelites say because we're in the curses. And that's true. But how did we get into the curses? It was because of the corruption of the blood of the contract that our ancestors did, and that we as a people continue to do day in and day out. Corruption of the blood. Not the blood or the genetics in you, but the blood that sealed the contract. In religion, y'all call it the Mosaic covenant. All right. Let me say this. Blood, fresh blood, has many uses. Okay. It has many uses. You can do a lot of things with it. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in fresh blood. And it flows. But corrupted blood coagulates. You can't do anything with it. It's dying and dead. Y'all got that? Coagulation. So imagine blood. Say you cut yourself, right? It's bleeding. It's a liquid, right? But then you begin to develop a scab. The blood forms a scab, right? Well, let's say you take some of that blood and you put it in a test tube. Well, guess what's going to happen? That blood will coagulate. It's going to become like a jelly. It's going to become like a jelly. Okay? This is corrupted blood. You can't do anything with it. There's no life in it. All of the cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, all of the other components of the blood, they're dead. The blood is useless. Okay? I'm just giving you a physical description of what corrupted blood will look like. So if live, fresh blood sealed the contract and you corrupt the blood of the contract, obviously you got problems, right? So this is what put us in the curses. Corruption of the blood, in my opinion, my humble opinion, has nothing to do with our genetics, all right? So mixing with other people, so on and so forth. And that's my, as a medical doctor, that's my personal opinion, right? Okay. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Believe what you want to believe. I'm not in the business of convincing anybody of anything, okay? I do not preach and evangelize. I teach. And I only teach those who want to learn. Okay, so don't ask me 100 questions thinking I'm going to try to prove something to you, because I'm not. I'm going to tell you, watch the video or go study. Okay, that's my answer to you. All right, let's continue. Corruption of the blood. All right, corruption of the blood, breaking natural law. That's corruption of the blood of the contract. Okay, that sealed the agreement between the Most High and Genesis chapter 2, men and women. All right. Okay. Let me go back. Oh, okay. So Capricorn, well, let me start. I lost my spot again. Dame Rudyard, and I'm gonna close out soon. Dame Rudyard, page 29, tells us that this is the phase of life in which the state assumes control over the individual, and in which an individual ruler can become totally subservient to his office. What does that mean? That means that the institution forces the ruler to do things that the ruler may or may not want to do. Okay, in other words, the ruler has handlers. Okay, the ruler has handlers who are telling him what to do or her what to do. All right. Capricorn is a sign of power and authority, but it is not the innate authority of the individual that we find in Leo. So Leo has a power from within, right? Power and authority that's inside. Capricorn authority comes from institutions. Capricorn is a sign of power and authority, but it is not the innate authority of the individual that we find in Leo, but the conferred authority of the figurehead, the authority that springs from the office and not from the soul. Okay, so we know there's no such thing as a soul, right? S-O-U-L, okay? We know that the soul is really the sun, S-U-N, sun, S-O-N, sun in German, okay? Soul, S-O-U-L, is something that the Catholic Church made up to capture your imagination and put the fear of G-O-D in you, okay? To always have you questioning yourself, guilty and hesitating. Why? Because they told you and injected words and verses in the Bible to lead you to believe that after death, you're gonna burn in hell or you get to go to heaven, thereby capturing your imagination and gave themselves the ability to control you. All right, when actually the S-O-U-L is nothing but soul, S-O-L, I believe that's Latin for sun, and they just threw a U in it. All right, they just threw a U in it and told you a story, and now they got you and they've had you in fear. All right, so here we go. The mountain goat, slowly but sure-footedly climbing up the steep slope, is an appropriate symbol for this sign, or is an appropriate symbol for Capricorn's association with the relentless pursuit of office by painstaking ascent through the ranks. So who are these people who relentlessly pursue political office or some other office? Relentlessly pursue it through the ranks. Who are these people? What may they all have in common? A lot of them may be delusional, right? A lot of these people may be delusional. They may be narcissistic, okay? That's just a fact. That's what drives them to go to the top of these organizations. But anyway, that's not in every case, but probably in most cases. That's just my opinion. You make the determination about that. Anyway, I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I want to keep the video short. We're going to pick up hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to be free until December 31st or January 2nd, something like that. But y'all make sure y'all support my our project, Zion Law School's project, to write the book of the law in Ibaryath and give it a faithful, precise, specific rendering for every word and every verse. We're going to remove all Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, take it all out, okay? All doctrine, all mythology, all intentional lies or deception, all the errors, we're going to remove it from the book of the law. Provide it to you in Ibaryath and in English. We're going to show what our ancestors actually wrote and read. We're going to remove all of the filth, the dishonesty, the deception, and the deceit that the Bible translators over the centuries have put into these records. We're going to remove it. So that requires Federal Reserve notes, Japanese yen, Vietnam dong, Mexican pesos, Filipino pesos, Australian dollars, Singaporean dollars, Thailand baht. These are all currencies. So y'all support this work. There's no reason we should not have our own documents. Like I wrote in the comment section of, I'm gonna do this video again tomorrow on another YouTube channel. I have the ability to provide the translation in Ibaryath and English. I've demonstrated it for years. Okay, but it's not something I can do on my own. I need the support of the House of Yasharala and all of the Moors. Y'all contribute to it, all right? Contribute to it. My PayPal and Cash App is in the description area of this video. I prefer Cash App because you know PayPal takes a lot, okay? When you send it or I receive it, they take a lot, all right? Y'all know that already. So support it. Failure for us to have our own records right now is voluntary consent to slavery. Yes, I said it. It is voluntary consent to slavery because it's a choice that you're making not to fund the production of the book of the law for our people. I have the skill and the ability to do it. There's no question about it. Everybody knows it from my work. Look at the description area of this video. Look at the books I've written. So support it. Do not continue to voluntarily support your own enslavement and oppression. These records, our records, have been used to enslave you physically and mentally, and now to oppress you, to manipulate you, to play you. You got puppet masters playing you, all right? Playing you with end time prophecy, playing you with false flag events to scare the daylights out of you. So you go run into JC, or you go run into the Tetragrammaton, all right? Every year, same thing, nothing ever happens, okay? But you're afraid to death. It's time for that to stop. It's time for y'all to come out of this mindset. So support the project to translate the book of the law into Ibaryath with a precise, faithful, accurate, detailed meaning of every word and verse. That's my commitment to you. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Shalawama and Islam to all of the Moors. I'm about to go to bed, y'all. I'm tired. Good night.